Hey, Yaga-ho for week 11 of the GBA, guys. This week we're going back up against Tom and the San Jose Sharpedos, our first rematch of the year. And this week was kind of a weird one. We had a lot of people unable to play, or games had to be delayed for various reasons. But thankfully, this was actually a fairly clean-cut game, no DC, and we actually got done on time. So in that regard, it went pretty well. Anyway, so here we see Zardwy, new acquisition, Staraptor. Bringing Bliss, so we're going to get some Chansey and Blissey action going on here. Arcanine, Black Kyurem, and Starmie. So what I decided to do this week was be a little cheeky and bring the exact same 6 guys. Not exact same 6 guys. Same 6 Pokemon. We have different EV spreads and move selections and whatnot. And hoping to gain, I don't know, maybe some sort of a... psych him out a little bit, make him think maybe it's the same exact 6. Anyway, so those 6 are going to be Zapdos. We have no graphics for this, but we have Zapdos, Suicune, Chansey, Whimsicott, Hitmontop, and Magneton. Several of those actually running the exact same set, actually. Magneton, I think I've only used Magneton against him, so once again, I like Scarf Magneton. Even though he brought no steals this time, you know, Scarf, it can still outspeed Zardwy, as well as, if it's not Scarfed itself, Staraptor, so... actually does not outspeed Starmie. I think it's a speed tie if you go max speed, so I decided to throw some extra EVs in bulk and not risk the speed tie, but he did end up bringing Starmie anyway, which I kind of didn't think he would, but he did this time. And also has can outspeed and flash cannon on the Black Kyurem. So for the other guys, Zapdos finally got an HP grass. Zapdos, of course, Swampert was not brought this week, as you can see. 3 attacks on Roost. Suicune, you know, I haven't actually, even though it's like supposedly, you know, one of the best sets it can run. I actually don't have a ton of experience using Crocoon, so I figured, you know what, these last couple weeks, maybe if it's not totally out of the question, let's bring it so I can at least see and kind of learn how to drop it in correctly. Unfortunately, there is Kyurem Black there with Fusion Bolt, which I'm pretty sure is going to 2-hit KO the Suicune anyway, regardless of how bulky it is. So if we want to actually set up with Crocoon, we probably need to get that out of the way, or at least low enough that it can take one and then kill it with a Scald. Chansey going to go ahead and eschew Stealth Rock this week just because he's got so many forms of hazard removal, and just go with Toxic and T-Wave, and as you can see there he's got Blissey, so that could be packing aromatherapy. Whimsicott with Life Orb, stab attacks, Stun Spore in case we need to throw a paralysis out on somebody like a Zardwy, or a Scarf Kyurem, something like that. And also just Leech Seed there to get back lots of HP should it come down to Bliss and trying to stall out against that. And Hitmontop, you're going to get your attempt at redemption this week. Because through Stone Edge on there. I'm going to see if he hits it. If he doesn't, he might be up on the trading block, depending on what I'm eyeing to draft next season. He's still, I think, my best option for Rapid Spin, so I don't want to let him go that easy, but if we're going to eye up someone for Rapid Spin, maybe we can see about trading Hitmontop if he doesn't hit his Stone Edges this week. So, but we'll see. And then also Thief and Mach Punch, as it is going to be a Technotop and Close Combat as our best way to attempt to remove the Bliss, so let's go ahead and get this started. Alright, just to reiterate the stakes, pretty much is going to take a complete collapse by the Sharpedos in order for us to have a chance at the playoffs at this point, but at least we have our fate in our own hands this week to try to start that collapse. So, lead out with Hitmontop, which I believe is the exact same lead I had in the last game, and he switches it up and leads out with Raptor Bird. I actually did think about leading out with Zapdos, although then I probably would have stayed in and gotten Double Edge potentially, so anyway, works out decently okay, I guess, as get hit by a U-turn, and he can probably tell from that damage that I am not EV-Elite, therefore most likely Scarfed, and I can tell from that much damage that he is also most likely Choice Banded, so that's good to know that I will be able to outspeed it with Scarf Magneton for later. So drops in a full stop though off the U-turn in the form of Blissey, so we're going to Volt Switch out, and T-Wave could be incoming, so I could drop in... I don't want to drop in Chansey of my own, because that will never end, and I don't have anything to really set up on him. Not even Stealth Rock. Zapdos won't be able to do anything, will be immune from T-Wave, that's about it. So we're just going to go and drop in the most offensive option we have, which is going to be Hitmontop. And he does T-Wave, which I guess the nicest thing about that is that it's going to slow down Hitmontop's dance animation here and make it not look terrible, but predicting a switch, of course. And so, unfortunately, we do get intimidated, and so we're going to do less than half. Despite going for Stone Edge, of course, he's not going to let Blissey go that early for free. So yeah, if anyone's going to be paralyzed on the team, I guess Hitmontop is a decent choice, as it's pretty much going to be slower than anything else on his team unless it's also paralyzed. That's the only time which it's going to come up. And of course, we could also get full parad. That is a problem as well. But other than that, this Hitmontop is Assault Vest, so hopefully we can live a Flamethrower or something from Zard Y, is the hope. And we'll see. Anyway, so I'm going to switch out here, expecting a Flare Blitz. And that's why we go into Chansey, and then I recall right away, of course, that it does get close combat. Unfortunately, it does get the burn. I mean, we have Natural Cure, but that's going to make for just additional pressure on me right here. If we did not get burned off Flare Blitz right there, then I will be A-okay living close combat and just soft boiling up and just trying to run him out of stuff. Of course, we did get some nice damage out of the recoil right there, which was the main reason I went into Chansey, since I don't... Did he have... I'm sure I noticed at the time, but anyway, so there's close combat. I was pretty sure I would live it even with the burn, but with soft boiled and the burn, yeah, okay, he does have leftovers. I was pretty sure I saw that. But yeah, we're back, and in fact, I think we lost HP there. So yeah, burn is being cantankerous. It's obviously over the course of 2 turns, we would be 1/4 HP higher. And instead, we are not. We are at exactly where we are at. So I'm going to get out of here and Natural Cure that burn off and just go into Gregor. And hope that we can repeat the same thing later on. So he is going to, I guess, predict a switch. Unfortunately, it's not, I guess, the correct option as we go into Coom. So it's... I really would not like to set up Calm Mind right now. That Blissey hasn't used enough PP. The only way I'm really going to be able to stall out the Blissey is if I, it's used a couple soft boileds already, I'm thinking. So we're just going to go straight for a Scald, and if he wants to stay in, then maybe he'll just die. The Suicune also has Rocky Helmet, just in case he did want to get cheeky and have S-Toss and try to S-Toss against Crocoon. In that case, he would be taking some additional damage off that. So that was the reason we had Rocky Helmet primarily, as well as just to switch in and do some damage to stuff. But anyway, so I'm not overly threatened by Starmie, but at the same time I have a Chansey, so I guess we'll switch into it and attempt to get healed up. Unfortunately, he does go right for Psyshock, and I can see from that I took about 90 points, so looks like we should be good to go with soft boiling up, and then we'll be back at usable hit points. Starmie doesn't have any sort of boosting moves, of course, so we'll just boil up and hopefully be at good enough hit points. Thought about T-waving here as well, but I didn't want something to come in and then be unable to boil up. And of course, it doesn't matter anyway, because living up to the nickname, the San Jose Critpedos get a critical hit, and now Chansey is gone. And now that Chansey is gone, this is a huge problem, because now Charizard Y can pretty much annihilate anything on the team. Hitmontop should be able to live 1 from full, but that's a very not exactly defensive thing. It's a 1 chance, and I don't like things that are just 1 chance. So anyway, drop in this thing since it's faster and has super effective stab. But I think we're actually going to go for Moonblast, as I'm well aware. Actually, no, we might just go Leech Seed, as the most likely switch-in is going to be Zard, as it's not going to be threatened whatsoever. However, he actually just straight up avoids Leech Seed. I perhaps could have gone Stun Spore instead, but if Leech Seed missed, then I guess Stun Spore probably would have missed as well. So, oh well. I don't know if I want to... I would like to keep this thing around, but now that Chansey's gone, I do not have a safe switch. I would like to keep... everything else on the team is still pretty useful. So I'm just going to stay in and go for a suicidal Stun Spore, and thankfully Stun Spore does land this time. So at least this Zard Y is now paralyzed. Kind of unfortunately, as I alluded to earlier, now Hitmontop is not faster than Zard Y despite it being paralyzed, because it itself is paralyzed. So nonetheless, I can still drop it in and probably live a hit. I think can't calculate right offhand, but I think Air Slash being lower base power despite being super effective is, and we're getting skips in the video. Hopefully this is not messing up the narration. Oh, psych, never mind, we're not going to go into Hitmontop just yet. Going to go into Magneton, since it's obviously going to be faster, and I can just Volt Switch. Well, I could Volt Switch, or I could T-Bolt. However, Zard Y, of course, does gain a pretty hefty chunk in the special defense, and therefore is not going to be one-shotted by Volt Switch. However, I believe I'm Modest Magneton, that's why I'm not outspeeding Starmie, if you were curious about that earlier. and therefore I can actually have a decent chance anyway to one-shot with T-Bolt, but he is instead, surprisingly, not going to go into Chansey. He's going to go into Arcanine, probably predicting, I don't know what he's predicting, because I would just Volt Switch. I don't know. Anyway, so Arcanine dies, and he gets some free initiative into something else, so, which ends up to be Blissey anyway. So, I don't know. I'll have to watch his side to see why that was. I can only imagine it was a prediction, but I have Volt Switch, so, I don't know. Anyway, whatever. So, we're Scarfed on T-Bolt, and we're in against the... that is a Blissey. I keep mixing the two up. I need to keep a running count of how many times I call Chansey Blissey, and I guess Blissey Chansey now. So anyway, he reveals Aromatherapy, and that is very bad. I'm not overly focused on status, despite having dual status Chansey, as Chansey's now dead. And in fact, my only other thing that inflicts status now is also dead, so... Oh well, so we are going to do that. Once again, just expect to switch and not close combat. Looks like we made the better choice anyway, as Starmie would resist close combat. And you know what? Did you guys see that? Hitmontop has hit 2 stone. He's 2 for 2 this game. So he's doing well. He's doing well for him. But we're gonna switch out here and go into the bird. And as we're going to take a Psyshock, this Zapdos, I believe, is modest, so it's not going to be overly defensive. It still has some decent defense, of course. And we can likely... thought about roosting here, but if he's got Ice Beam, I think those can take 1, but it's not going to enjoy it. It's going to get down in the red, and it's, you know, I'm over 50% right now. I don't think I'm going to be able to sustain Ice Beams against this guy. I think I'm just going to be gradually losing HP, and based on how much I took right there, I don't... Yep. And you see we survived with 7. Pretty sure playing a Roost game would have just gotten me killed in the next turn, as I don't think Lefties plus Roost would have taken me up quite high enough. And then, of course, there's also chances for crits and freezes, so just go ahead and take the kill right there, and you know, get something dead, and at the very least start shaving differential, which we certainly have not lost yet. I do still have Crocoon in the back, which you know, potentially if we get up to +6/+6 with Coon, anything is possible, I guess. You know, Fusion Bolt's going to be a big problem from this Black Kyurem, but of course we got a chance for a burn. So, in comes the aggro drag. Do you have it? And we don't, though. We do not have it right now, and it looks like we're going to have to end up sacrificing off Zapdos here. Here we get to confirm he does have Fusion Bolts, so that definitely lets me know. And Life Orb as well, so yeah, that's going to do well over half the Coon. And we also have Whimsicott gone, which is an option to do that to it. With Moonblast, I don't know if it would KO from that range. I know sometimes Black Kyurems are naive, so if it was naive, maybe it would. But anyway, so the plan here is to drop in Top Man and Mach Punch, get some damage on there, and then hopefully Scarf Magneton can do something, come in and Flash Cannon maybe. Anyway, he still has Blissey, so I don't know if this was necessarily a great play, as this is kind of going to be my easiest way to kill Blissey, is going to be Hitmontop, but at the same time, like, I don't see him letting Blissey die to Hitmontop. It's going to be kind of cantankerous. Anyway, so we get paralyzed. I guess that's fine. You know, we hadn't gotten paralyzed at all up to that point. And I'm pretty sure we had pulled off... I think we pulled off at least 3 moves. So anyway, fair enough. He's actually locked into Outrage, so that is going to allow me to Flash Cannon and kill this thing. And at this point in the game, I think I thought for some reason that the Starmie was still alive, and Blissey was not. I quickly realized this before I make any other moves, of course. But for a brief moment there, I thought, oh man, I got T-Bolt is going to... clear out Zardwise, Starmie, and Staraptor. But that is, of course, not the case because Blissey exists. So, knowing that, this thing is definitely not going to kill Bliss. Suicune may be able to stall out Bliss. So, maybe I can Flash Cannon, pick up a special defense drop, and then maybe be able to kill with Skull. That does not seem quite likely. There we see, just confirming I am indeed Scarfed, and Flamethrower, of course, going to pick up KO. I think I did still have Magnet Pull on Magneton this week, though I did think about running either Analytic or Sturdy. And based on not getting the special defense drop there, I'm pretty sure we cannot take 2 Solar Beams, and it's pretty much going to be game over from here, as you can tell by the amount of time left in the video. It's definitely not enough time to have a Crocoon versus Blissey stall match. Although I did actually win one of those the other day on 6v6 no items Wi-Fi. It was pretty interesting. Anyway, so we just Calm Mind, as obviously that's way too much damage for us to really do anything, and Zardwai is going to close out the game. So, oh well, you know, Chansey got critted, and, you know, that happens, and, yeah, it kind of removed my best defensive block to Zardwai running a train, and, unfortunately, it was indeed removed, and, Zardwai, what I believe responsible for 3 kills there, so that's the way it goes. So that is going to, I think, officially knock us out of the playoffs, and, next week we play Danza, who I think we're pretty much neck and neck. So next week will go a long way to seeing if we can complete our goal of finishing in 4th in the division. And at this point, we can't get back to a winning record, but we still have hopes alive for finishing with an even record. So I guess that's going to be the sliding goals for us. But oh well, keep chins up, and we're going to keep using this as kind of a preseason for next season. You know, getting used to, especially our guys who are still going to be on contract for next year, and even the guys who are going to have their contracts expire, maybe have them campaign to be picked back up. So anyway, see you guys next time for our first game against Danza. It's going to be our last new opponent, closing out the game with 2 rematches, or closing out the season with 2 rematches. So see you then. Later days.